right, so welcome everyone. Thanks for taking the time out to join us on this panel discussion. I'm very excited to be talking Electroneum with a great group of people and help get some good information out there to the community on this wonderful project. I'm going to start it off by going around the room and introducing everybody. All right. So first off, I'm going to start off. This man needs no introduction. Many of you know him as All About Tech from his very popular YouTube channel. It's Mick Ambrose. Awesome stuff. Welcome, Mick.
Thank you very much for having me. It is indeed awesome stuff. Can't believe that's caught on, but no, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's really exciting to be here.
Awesome. All right, the next person is a legend in the ETN community. He is one of the original OGs of ETN. He is Crypto for the People, Sean Davis. Welcome, Sean.
Everybody. Hey, everybody. Honored to be on the panel here talking about Electroneum with Chris Gorman and the rest of the crew.
Awesome. Lastly, we have a legend from the mobile industry, a veteran in the space, the distinguished gentleman, director of Electroneum Ltd, Sir Dr. Chris Gorman, officer of the Order of the British Empire. Welcome, Chris.
Hi, thank you. First of all, great to be here with people who I love and respect and for the hard work they do for us, for the whole community. So thanks for the invite tonight.
Of course, man, my pleasure. So thank you, everybody, for joining this panel discussion. I think it's going to be great, and I'm really excited about it. All right, and I wanted to kind of kick off the conversation with a question for you, Chris.
For notes.
There you go. All right, you've been in the mobile industry for a very long time, and you are truly a veteran in the space. You recently wrote a great article that you posted on Medium, Reddit, the community forum about your professional experience and career. Can you recap on that a little bit and tell us what your experience brings to Electroneum for the space and for the project? Tell us about it.
I think there's a few things. I mean, the mobile industry has been, around in its current form since probably the early 90s. And I actually started it in 1983, I think. No, so the answer machines, 1985 or 6 was when I started selling mobile. And, as it's grown up, there's a lot of the same people. It's not, it's a very, it's a very loyal to itself industry. It's interesting when you look at, as it went through its growth, as it went through its hyper competition, how the mobile operators work together, how you never see the kind of attacking each other in real terms. Even in terms of the advertising, they'll say they're the cheapest, the lowest, but it's not. It's an industry that supports and understands it needs to support each other. It's an industry also that when one of the respected companies starts doing something, a lot of them will follow. It's also an industry, though, you only get one chance to get a bad reputation. and there are some cryptos already have got that because they're trying to gnaw away at the edges of how the industry operates. And there are certain aspects where the industry, mobile operators make some extra money, and that kind of protects them. And people try to attack that. You're not going to get very far. So, as a whole, it's having been in the round so long, having almost earned the credentials, having more importantly understanding how the money flows, where it flows, who makes decisions, what those decisions are based on, who actually matters in those decision making. Because sometimes the compliance team can have more power than the CEO, because the CEO is so concerned of, typical corporates. They obviously it's very important for them to achieve their objectives. But it's really understanding what people need, what they want, and who's going to make the right decision around this. And I think that's the insight that it's almost impossible to just walk in and get.
Mm. Excellent stuff. You definitely bring a lot of value to the team.
That's huge, man. I mean, you can't like you said, you can't buy experience like that. And to be in the mobile industry since 1983. And people compare cryptocurrency to the mobile industry, mobile phones in 1985 right now.
Yeah.
So, awesome, man.
And to go through.
I'm stealing it, Mick.
And actually, one of the other key things is, there is a lot of chat goes on in between it. So, it's also having multiple connections and, within that industry, being able to find out, are we doing the right thing? Are we going the right way? Are we, because it is a case of there's no playbook for crypto. There's no map that says this is how you do it. This is what you should be doing. You know, you'll see that everything we're trying to do is actually take the pain away. Is to simplify it down, and that's for every partner. We will succeed because we add value to everyone in the chain, from the end user to the operator, to the operator suppliers, to the retailers. That's where we've got to come from. We are never going to win by thinking that we're going to take everyone's business away. We will win by the fact that the companies, especially who need something more at the moment, whether that be additional relevance, whether that be additional revenue, whether that be something that differentiates them or helps them think about their funding for the 5G investment. It's about slightly changing how we're presenting to actually fit that gap, and that's where we become very valuable.
I think with all the changes, all the different pieces of technology advancements, I mean, this is what we're saying with the experience. You've gone through every major change in the mobile industry, and now we've got blockchain, which can bring a hell of a lot to the table. And again, you're at the forefront, bringing these changes into the industry, and it's clearly hugely appreciated and massively valued.
And what's very important, I don't think there's anyone, and guys tell me, there aren't any mobile operators in reality doing anything with blockchain in the marketplace yet. There's little tickles at the edges. I mean, have you guys seen much out there? I
No.
do some top-ups, but the top-ups are even by third-party aggregator type people, which we could do that tomorrow, but it doesn't really help us with what we're trying to do. And it's like any industry of that scale. Because nothing's been done, because there's a lot of excitement, then these early ones that we're doing that we'll start the trials with, we need to learn. They need to learn. We need to make sure that as we enter into them. I mean, it's interesting when the conversation about the mega deals. There's a number of what the companies we're working with can become mega deals, but it starts with the first customer. It starts with the first text goes out. It starts with getting that right. It starts with making sure that we've got the right positioning for the regulator, because if a regulator in a country starts saying the wrong things in those first stages, and then everyone panics. So there is so many elements that we to get this right for the long term, and we ain't doing this for short term. To get this right for the long term, it is about taking each one of those, and one of the deals we're working on, which we've signed. It's 24 people from their side. Actually, sometimes it's me alone on the phone call with about 15 of them. I still hold my own though, Sean. You've told me well. But
awesome. So let me ask the second question.
Yeah.
So with the crypto market crashing this week, and many people are speculating that some ICOs are going to run out of money. I just wanted to ask the question to you: how well is ETN funded or in position to weather this storm that we're having?
Well, I'm trying to think how best to put this, because Richard is very, very careful with money. So I'm just trying to say that in the gentlest way. But I tell you, the fact that I only got involved after the ICO, and I think that, the decision to take that, to get 40 million was a really bright one. The fact that we've been, so conservative and prudent in terms of what we spend. There's been so many people shouting, get marketing. But, the more things we have put in place or are starting to put in place, then the bigger the opportunity. Every time you spend $1 marketing, then you get $10 worth of marketing out of it, because it falls into a number of places. If we'd done that, if we'd been marketing $1 6 months ago, what would it have actually done? I'm going to come back, guys, because I've got some questions for you about about the marketplace, because I don't think people realise some of what we've achieved already. But sometimes we're not very good at actually getting the data in a meaningful way out to people. Partly because we don't necessarily play the same as everyone else. But to come back to your question, Sean, I'm not doing a political answer of moving away from it. I would say that no matter what happens around us in terms of pricing or anything else, there will be nothing financially stopping us achieving the goals, the long term. We have been very prudent. We don't spend a lot. You've been in the offices, you know yourself, Mike. It's nice, but there's not a huge team. And I think lastly on that, from the hours that you see me and other people work, we're not overloaded with people. So, but suffice to say, there's certainly something it's one of our stronger areas. So, and it will this will all be audited and come out as part of our process anyway. I'm not sure of the timing, but people are going to see everything we do is transparent. Everything we do will be audited. So we're very different in that way. But I want to ask you guys though. It's an interesting question you raised, and I didn't realise that this has thrown some concerns out there. Not just about us, but generally. So I wouldn't mind understanding that a little bit more and kicking around with you, because there are some elements of this industry that it would be good to get rid of the companies that just don't do anything. They never plan to do anything. That scam people. I mean, I wish what's this going to do for us? Do you think for an industry?
I think a shakeout is definitely needed. I think the ICO frenzy got way out of control back in that December time, when Bitcoin was really going through the roof. Everybody and their cat and their dog were doing ICOs purely for the sake of it, even if blockchain doesn't necessarily solve the problem within their business as such. Yeah. So I think it is really, and whilst everybody hates volatility, it's a new market, it's an immature market. The market needs to mature. There's fingers crossed going to be many more trillions of dollars come into this market as it matures, as big corporates and Wall Street get in and start investing and everything like that. So it's so early. It's so early.
And just sorry, I'm interested in what the other guys say. Then I want to just touch on volatility. Sorry, Michael. I'm going to throw some questions out as well, so it's not all me.
No, I think
any other thoughts on this? Kind of this reduction and what it will do for people. As I said, we're full steam ahead. You're going to see a lot more activity in both advertising and WooCommerce. We've done our early testing and starting to shape things a little bit. So you'll see that coming. There's nothing in our plans is going to slow down because of what's happening in the marketplace. It doesn't actually affect our data. All it does is the volatility means that every conversation I have at the moment, I've got to explain a little bit more about why it's changing. So it's a road bump in a bit more of my time, taking up more than anything. So.
I think it's a good place to be because the market is changing and a lot of these ICOs are getting they're running out of money and they're falling off to the wayside. And the real companies that are actually doing something in the space are actually going to start to shine. And we're going to see who the real companies in the crypto space are and who the fake people are as they fall to the wayside, And I think Electroneum is one of those companies that's going to shine through this and show people what it's all about.
Look, but as well as building over the last year, we've also been taking a build out process which we touch on for the ecosystem, but we've also done a protective process. Everything around the legal, we've been getting council opinion to make sure we tick all the boxes we do. We're looking at regular, every jurisdiction that has the cryptocurrency is legal and it has a process. We're actually going through those processes so that we actually get that status as a legal tender in those territories, and at the same time being managing finance very well. Fortunately, there was 40 million to begin with, so we started off with a good level to make this work, but no, it's interesting. And Sean, you're the most excitable of any of us. And one of the things I love is you don't criticize other people generally. There's a generic criticism of people who criticize us, but do you think it's a good thing to clear out at the minute?
Yeah, I'll give you my take on the whole thing is I'll give you two things I can think of. So one is I think some ICOs, because we're in crypto, they raised the funds and kept them in crypto, which are now 97% down. So every dollar they have 3 cents, and now they have to try to make a product, right? You had a product, even though you've come out with more products, you had a product right off the gate. You had your own blockchain. You had a product. When I went to, tell about the story. It was so eye-opening. I went to the North American Bitcoin conference in February. I talk about it a lot because it had an impact on me, and because ETN was the first ICO I got in, and in fact, I was at the North American Bitcoin conference. I was the only person with an ETN shirt, and you could go to the booths and and talk to the different projects. And there were some big projects that were there that had ICO'd the year before and were worth like $100 million. And when I talked to them, I would, I'm not going to say any names, but like imagine like cross atomic swaps and stuff like that. And that was their whole plan. And so I'd say, well, how are you doing on that? And they were still like, well, we're still trying to figure it out. I'm like you guys have are worth a couple $100 million, and you don't even have a project. You're still, start trying to figure out. So I think that's the other thing. Some of it's vaporware. They had great ideas and they're trying to figure it out. And some of it is the money was in crypto, and like my portfolio was here and is now here, right? And now I'm eating ramen. So does that make sense?
It does. So go on.
So you guys had a product, and then in the past year have come out with, if you look, you got the instant payment, you're doing the KYC, you guys have the app. I got the list, but there's so many things that you have the full ecosystem, the liquidity.
I've got the list.
Yeah, it's everything. So you have everything. I can think of top 20 coins that don't have any of this, at all, and they've been around for 4 years, right? So
there's some great plans though.
Yeah. But I know that's on people's minds, so I wanted to.
I'll be sarcastic. I swear. I love the when you read, you think, "Oh, this is amazing," but it's not out yet.
Yes. No, it is true, and and a lot of people, and like I said, the ETN was my first. I see a lot of people don't know what to ask, and I was surprised when I went there. I was like, because all you get is a lot of these viewers, all they get is our take. They get a YouTube look at crypto. But when you go and you actually look behind the scenes and start to ask questions, you're like, it's like what is it like? There's nothing behind the curtain. You go behind the curtain, you're like, there's nothing back here. This is all. There's a wizard,
Yeah.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Lucy. There's a joke somebody once told me. He said, talking about the Wizard of Oz. Sorry to digress, guys, but and it's a great joke. He says, this great wizard, he's controlling everyone. Everyone's in awe of him, and he gets tricked by a dog. It's true. A dog pulls the curtain back, and his whole life's over because a dog pulls the curtain.
Wow.
Sorry.
But in a bull market, that can happen. So this bear market, like they say, the tide goes out, you see who's not wearing any pants.
Yeah.
We're seeing who's not wearing any pants right now.
Yeah.
And
everyone's getting exposed now.
If it sounds exciting, people get really hyped for it without actually seeing in depth. Like they'll see maybe a white paper or something like that along those lines of the plans, but then 2 years later or a year and a half later, they're still working on that first objective. Whereas Electroneum have so much, and we learnt new things whilst we've been on this journey for the past year. Things that we didn't originally think that ETN were going to bring to the table, which they've brought to the table. In
some cases, we've got too much. Trying to explain to people what we do, what we've got. Sometimes it's difficult because there was that list of everything from the wallet and all the things the wallet does, all the things it can do, the instant pay. How that links in with the wallet, what we're doing with the gig economy, how Inclusivity, which is the article I was writing last week, been talking to some NGOs and which are non-government organisations to help some of the people focused on these the financial inclusion issue, and it was during some of those conversations that we talked about the fact that and it was one of the organisations said, actually what you're doing you're not just looking at financial inclusion, you're doing something better, and it may overcome more some of the issues with financial inclusion. And I haven't thought about this, but the majority of products or solutions for the unbanked are actually built, packaged you take to the unbanked. You know, it's kind of something different about them. They're not the standard package. They're not for everyone else. It's built for those people. And therefore, by building that unique product for a group of people, you've invested some money in, and you've got to get some kind of return, some kind of success, some kind of metric for you know, to justify further building or for. And there's nothing in this world that you come across in technology that works first time. There's everything. It needs to be, you know, I think Apple themselves say, you know, it's average the 8th releases when it's actually doing the right job, you know, to get there. So you're in almost a dichotomy, because you launch this product in an NGO, it's not quite working, and we're seeing some of these where the growth has slowed down in financial inclusion. The actual the dormancy of accounts. I mean, it's over 50% of mobile money accounts opened in the unbanked world now are not used after 3 months. So so therefore, what do you do with that? You built it just for them. So you investing further into it. It's difficult to justify the money. You know, so you end up with a lot of almost half dead products, zombie products out there. And I never thought about this until they were saying the great thing is we've now got a rapidly growing, you know, very committed community, very committed use of the same product that works for the unbanked. So the more success we're getting over here with some of a number of the initiatives we're having with, you know, the industrialized world, the more it means we improve the product, we keep improving the product for the unbanked. As we start to see a flow into some of these initiatives that we'll be launching in you know, in developing territories, which in itself will start driving, you know, more ETN taken up in an ecosystem that circulates in there. And we spend a lot of time thinking about these ecosystems, and you know, I'll come back to them, but we really think about how we're going to get maximum amount of circulations of it, so it's useful, it stays there, it comes out of being tradable. So the flip of that is then the more benefits comes back to the people who have started with us in terms of you know, creating the usage, creating the need. So and because we don't have to make just that one product work. That's very different to what people normally take for financial inclusion. So and I never thought about this until they were talking about it. So they said start talking about inclusivity rather than inclusion. I went, Jesus, this is getting complex.
I think it's the way you just describe it. It's like these packages that these organizations are given to the specific people within these territories. It just works for them. Whereas what you're doing, it's potentially connecting the entire world. Exactly. And that is incredibly disruptive. Incredibly.
And the final piece of that, which you know, Richard and the team are building at the moment, and it will make a difference. You cannot have sustainability in a currency unless you're doing, you know, 3 things. First of all, is people have got to be able to earn it. And the only thing you know, if I've got to be able to earn a currency in the mass market for this to be something that's daily, that can be daily usage, and all I've got to earn it with is my hours. So I've got time I can spend to get something back, and that's how currencies and economies work. So the gig economy starts giving. So we reward it, which is a form of earning by, you know, what we take off the blockchain emissions, and you've got that $3 a day, but then you want to earn more, and that's where the gig economy really starts coming in. The minute you've got more, the second thing is it's got to be easy accessible. And in developing economies, you've got these tremendous entrepreneurs. We see them who will do anything to get a piece of. If there's any new revenue in, and you look at what happened over the years with voucher systems and, you know, like point cards and things, it's a tradable commodity. If there's anything that's tradable in a local economy that's an emerging one, the entrepreneurial guys will find multiple ways to, you know, to use it, to get more of it, to be able to have more in that country. And the third thing is it's got to be be able to integrate into so many different formats, and including a benefit to the country. So, you know, everything we're doing, you know, in many ways, we're not an alternative. You know, we are an enabler, but we're more than anything, it's about adding, it's about giving more choices to people, it's about giving that little bit extra. And there's certain things that we do within some of those economies that means we're actually helping that domestic market growth. any emerging territory needs growth in its domestic market, so that when the core economy exchange rate starts going up, exports drop down, their own domestic market has to be ready to buy. So it really enhances it in multiple ways. Sitting alongside the objectives of any emerging economy, because we're not taking anything away, we'll put more in. With those things, that means that as corporations, everyone else starts to see that as well. There's a benefit for them to have more ETN in their economy, in their system, in their the kind of macro ecosystem. And I've just done about what should be about an hour's explanation in about 2 minutes.
That is massive, though. I mean, going into how it can actually help these territories' economies grow.
I had something there I was talking about earlier on, and I just want to go back to one point you made there earlier on. I think the other thing when I talked that experience, instinct, and influence can't be taught, but it can only be earned. Think about the team. Bear in mind we talked about earlier on about the ICO money and what's happening in the industry. Richard had a number of successful businesses, very efficient, very well run. So he's got those credentials. He knows how to run a business. He knows how to manage cash. He knows how to. So half the coins in the world, you don't even know who's behind them. So you can't tell whether they know what they're doing or not. And then of the others, there isn't a lot outside of our industry. There's not a lot of real world experience. There's not a lot of you don't see many people who even CFOs who actually know how to manage cash. There's compliance people, but compliance is totally different to actually just running the cash flow in a business. And some people are starting to have to face up to that and realizing, how do we do this? So again, going back to that experience, we couldn't be in a better hands than Richard in terms of actually just running. I dream about too much, and I'm great at doing deals, but not necessarily the kind of making sure that everything else is working the way it should be. And it's a great strength here. So we then look. There's some of the people that we're bringing in as well. We've got Nick, he has run processes for he gets excited when he can draw a process out, right? So, and he literally goes through every element of it. But this is what you need, in this world as we go forward, because how do you deal with the real world? If you can't deal with the real world, you can't deal with get the 99% mass adoption. And again,
Definitely agree.
And without that skill set, it's impossible.
I just want to go into that actually, because quite ironically, I've just finished one of my assignments in professional practices at university, and I had to do a big piece on team dynamics and how a team to work great together. You can't have a bunch of all the same kinds of people. You need to have all these different skill sets. You need to have the experts in each field, and that is something that you guys clearly have.
Yeah, I think I'm an EFTR on Myers-Briggs or an EFTN or what. Yeah, we do have, and whilst me and Richard are both very entrepreneurial, we're also very different. And we've got that balance of process organizers, kind of the entrepreneurial and the actual doer. Just gets. But you're right. But it's hard to tell that with most of the coins out there, because who's the team? I mean,
the head developer.
It's interesting. I've just got in front of me on the screen the coin checkup site, which I like, and the reason that there's such a better. We used to score fairly low until they looked at us properly, and on their algorithm we're number 7 at the moment, And the reason I like it is because the level of detail they go into, the way they analyze all of the team, the way they analyze what's being said, how it's being said, and the multiple points rather than just simply looking at, that's what the market cap is. And that's what the industry needs to start doing. The more this industry, the more people actually dive in and look at the detail, the more regulation. I hate red tape, but I embrace regulation, because it's not just protecting people; it stops the bad crap going on. So,
yes.
And if you can get that that official stamp of that approval from official regulators, there's going to be next to no blockchain project, no cryptocurrency project that has that, and then that may be the global standard of what companies will deal with what crypto projects because of that gold standard.
Absolutely. And the thing is, you've said it. You said, Sean, we're in the early stages. This is there are so many things going to change, so many dynamics going to change. At the moment, there's everyone obsesses about the big exchanges, and that is an important part. But it's we've got the kind of the balance of building a business that we know works, that we know impacts people, that we know is sustainable long term and does what we set out to do. At the same time, we've got to do things that keeps those people who hold coins happy along the way within reason. It can't distract from where we're going, because we know where we're heading. We're ticking every box as we go. Sometimes we have to just keep our heads down and let people pelt things at us while we head there. But this is not some kind of, hey, let's imagine. I tell you what's great today. Someone said to me, now hit BTC's on. Now nobody can say you don't deliver. That's you might be late sometimes, but you delivered everything that's been quoted. So I said,
that was the one thing on the list.
So I called to the public. I asked to the public, it's only beta. So he went, yeah, you've got the beta, but we know it works. So the thing is, people, whenever I got into a debate with anyone, in a positive debate, so the thing that would come up with would be hit BTC. It's there, right? So we deliver what we say we will. Sometimes it takes a bit longer, like 9 months, 10 months for BTC. But people realise that there is we're doing what we say we're doing. And that's much more. I think one of you said so much more than. I read the stat from Ernst & Young, which quoted it's almost 2 years from ICO to any kind of launch is the average. From ICO to have a fully working product out there. There are less than 10% of ICOs actually have a product out there in the marketplace at all. There is only one that has. I think there's around 20 of them have like a couple of different products, but they intertwine with each other. There's no one has an ecosystem, and there's no one has more than one product for the general public. So even when it's a couple of things, it's more for the industry. The majority of revenue and movement and everything is within these walls. There's very little. It's difficult to get numbers, but as the huge, you think about the growth of the investor base and the buyers, etc., and of cryptocurrency like in 2017. Yet we saw a decline in according to PwC in spend in real world usage of coin. So there's a quote of which is if you want things to be different in this world, then you have to do different things. And hence the reason we are doing a lot of things differently, but we're doing them based on the best playbook we can, which is a playbook of experience, of people we talk to, of insight. There isn't one specifically for the industry, and that doesn't suit everyone. That doesn't sit well with everyone, because we're not doing what's the expected is. But the expected hasn't really been producing the results of getting into a real world or a lot of growth or a lot of success anywhere. So at some stage, I kind of hope that one day, people will go, actually, there might be something in doing things differently rather than what everyone shouting you should do. Who knows? I might just be a dream I'm having. So
no,
a lot of these projects, like you say, they don't have anything tangible, and I think like comparing like the number of active wallets on other chains compared to ETN, ETN is much higher, and then they've actually got reasons to have that many wallets open, because you can get the vendor integration sorted within 20 minutes if you own an online e-commerce store. You have the mobile money, you have instant pay, you've got all these different things that you're bringing, you've got the gig economy coming. This is why ETN has so many more active wallets than other cryptos, because there's that ecosystem.
That's an interesting point. And first of all, I want to start with on this point with, I was around in the .com boom days, right? And the way this industry attacks each other, is crazy. There's nothing more than anyone. If I see a Dash or a Stella or an EOS, any of them breaking through into mass market, I'm going to be over the moon because they're starting a path that we can use the same path. It's like a minefield around us of everyone trying to attack. You think about the size of the financial services industry. It seems that everyone thinks there's only going to be one successful cryptocurrency that goes in the market, but there's going to be hundreds of them. So anyone who's good, we should forget the scams and the crap that's out there. And there are some, but good companies, and there are plenty of them. There are many great companies in this industry. But good companies, we should be helping each other. We should be celebrating. Go back to the .com boom. The intensity of inward looking and attacking each other because everyone was going on NASDAQ is part of the problem. Nobody was growing the businesses because they were trying to damage each other. The others, I remember a whole evening of a First Tuesday session in New York spent on looking on criticizing Amazon's fonts they were using as being so archaic that they're never going to succeed. Right? So, but that's it. It was they were talking about how people are going to hate that font. It's all about bringing better technology, and it wasn't. It was about giving something. Too many people focus on what's coming next rather than actually what's here now and could be improved. And that's what Amazon did very, very well. And it's there are plenty of people that I continue to look at and think about. But you go back to that. We don't chat about it. Sometimes the only difficulty I have, or not difficulty, I look at some of those top 10, top 20, and then I look at, I think, and I'll have a look at the current, on Alexa, which so many people in this industry use for exchanges. Nobody seems to use for coins. So on Alexa, traffic metrics, we are Bitcoin's number one with a global rank of, this is not the exchanges, this is the coins. Bitcoin 13, there's over a million, X million websites, but we're number one with Bitcoin at number 13,151, Ripple a global rank of 22,011, Ethereum global rank 24,664, Electroneum 26,023, Stellar 58,135, EOS 78,000. So with the fourth biggest, if anyone can go look at this on Alexa, with the number 4 cryptocurrency in terms of traffic, active web users on a daily basis, and where you've got 13, 22, 24, 26,000 positions, with us being 26, and then the next being 58,000. We go down to Bitcoin Cash. Its rank is 143,819.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter what everyone says out there. We actually have a lot of people that every day, are interacting with us and doing. Now, you don't interact for the sake of interacting. Actually, what's even more interesting is that because it shows that it can be. So traffic sources, 66% are direct. So we've got the highest by far people. So most people have a very high Bitcoin. 58% of its traffic comes from people searching. Only 23% of ours comes from searching. So these are people who actually know where to go. They come to us every day. They're our customers. They're our users. They're not even searching for us. We don't do that great on search because we don't really spend so much of it. You then look. You mentioned open wallets, and if we talked about the people who open mining, we're a couple 100,000 every day. But even without that, we're doing 15 to 20,000 on-chain transactions every day. That puts us in the top 5, top 10, top 5 of actual volumes of transactions. Not trade. Now, yeah, we're not that high in volume, but again, the chain is used extended, and we already have a lot of global, remittance from person to person. I know some of the things we're looking at in Turkey. We did a little survey in one of the countries, which we're going to do in others recently, where we're asking people, would you use use the your mobile bill. The things are 99% said, 97% answered saying they'd be up to. So, you know, when you look at it, it doesn't make any sense, you know, in terms of where we sit, how we sit in the marketplace, because every one of the key metrics that you measure, and this is why, you know, I like coin checkup, doing the job properly. I think I covered your question, but I went around a bit.
No, yeah, that
Maybe
was
talking less.
that was really really extensive actually, because like you said, like you don't want to damage these business relationships, and this is such a young market, and these services and this ecosystem, it takes time to build. It's like building any business. It just because it's cryptocurrency doesn't mean that everything has to be here, like soon being the most popular word used in crypto, or when moon, or anything like that. Like there's just that urgency constantly in crypto, isn't there?
But you know, we've got to make sure we do the right thing. You know, and I always tend to say, start with why. Why are we doing this? Why would an operator do this? Well, you know, we really thought through the benefits that make a difference to the operators. So we tick all those boxes, but there is still a level of nervousness. Any corporate, you know, any corporate individual, you know, they're in that position. Anything that's going to be risk, then they need to make sure that, you know, they get it right. And I take that personally in terms of, you know, I don't think anyone's got fired through doing a deal with me yet, and I don't want this to be the first. So it's making sure that we have all those pieces that really deliver. You know, it's doing the smaller tests. It's given the ability for flexibility. I mean, you know, Google built the whole business in the initial. Everything was beta. Right? There's a smart reason for that, because you know you haven't got it fully ready. You know, and you know, I'm keen for us to do more of that, whereby we've still got to learn. We've still got to improve. We've still got to get it better. You know, there are many things that we are doing that are unique and not going to be easy. Whether you talk about the paint of the vendor, or the way that we get money into Electroneum into people's hands across the world, or the way that we can smartly integrate into operators, all those things, or even just the fact that, you know, we know exactly which elements within a mobile operator or a partner this is going to affect in a positive way. So, you know, we've got all the important stuff done, right? So we've got the access, we've got the product, all the things that really would matter if I was sitting looking as an investor from the outside. That's, you know, in a traditional world. So with all those things in place, some of them still need some work doing, you know, but then the next thing is, okay, that implementation, those initial stages, you know, because especially as we're talking to so many people, the world watches as we do things. You know, as we're progressing, so we must continue, and that will mean at times things change in timing. You know, there are operators right now we're talking to who will be able to work with directly on. They already have 148 countries in the world have KYC. So in many of the developing territories, we can actually use their tokens, because effectively it means that we've got the ability to verify somebody if necessary. We don't hold the information on the person, but we've got the ability. So, you know, we're talking with some of them about, and that's part of the reason for moving it back a little bit, because do we want to try and fix everything? There are various different ways we can do this. But again, let's get it right. Let's make it the easiest, the most useful, the most efficient, the most valuable to our users and to our partners.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's key. The KYC thing is really key for some of these third world nations that are right now having problems with Yoti. If you guys could achieve that with some of these existing operators who already have KYC in place, because it's a requirement in these countries, that right away solves 95%, if not more, of the problems. Well, you guys are in uncharted territory right now between all the KYC stuff. Crypto is a brand new market. You guys are penetrating the fintech space. You're putting all this stuff together. You're really the first company to ever do something like this, to kind of mash it all up together and make multiple products around this ecosystem, and then actually try to market it in all these different countries.
Yeah.
You guys are really pioneers right now. And yeah, of course, there's going to be a lot of trial and error until you get it right.
Actually, I've got to read something someone sent me yesterday, because I found it quite funny. Right? So and it was actually about about kind of some of the challenges that or the not challenges, expectation. But we wouldn't be where we are without our community, and it's our community brilliant. But there are some people kind of a little bit removed who just find this where I've got it who kind of shout loud, etc. And this is so. I had a chat with a partner that we're working on a kind of an ecosystem. We'll get there, but it's probably a couple of months away before we have. And this is using every aspect in a region, using every aspect of what we do, dropping in at once. But he said, Chris, if you keep on giving away simple candies which taste delicious, you will have a growing demand for more. The addition to the sugar will make them angry with you. There are many other candy stores with very plain, tasteless sweets who do not receive such harsh treatment. The fact that you have the machinery, the skill, the secret recipe, and all the ingredients combined with the ability to bring it all together in such a delicious way is being totally missed by most of the people who are addicted to the candy. And that was quite funny. We keep on giving a little bit more, but it's only a taste. It's only a sample, rather. So who knows? Look, we will continue. I think the one thing, in the last year, and God, I feel for Richard sometimes. Some of the criticism of things that come out, and sometimes these things are a little bit hurtful when it's people who care and work so hard to do something are getting some of the criticisms that are there. So I think hopefully over the last year we've shown beyond any doubt our commitment to it, our the virtuosity of what we're doing, and the fact that we will deliver and continue to deliver, and we care about the people who are behind us. Those in the community who are close to we talk to regularly, know how much we care. We don't want things to go wrong. We're kind of custodians of everyone who believes in it. So, and that puts that's what drives us. And seeing your videos, Sean, and your videos, Mike, as well, that's what really drives us. Yeah, I have to say, there are times when I watch you guys, I go,
love.
And I think, yeah, that's why we do it. People do care. So.
That's exactly why I think we make videos, isn't it, Sean? You give us so much to talk about. That's the thing. You give us more to talk about than the rest of the crypto market because you're getting things done.
How do we? Sorry, I'm going to ask you guys. Obviously, some of the core messages, some of the fundamentals of what we're doing, some of what we built and we have ready, isn't getting through. I mean, clearly because and it's not. I think it gets through to our audience, but it's not even getting. It's not rippling to other things. And it's this thing I said earlier on. The announcement last week about Stellar doing $125 million airdrop for mass adoption. I think Stellar's brilliant what they've done. They're 5 years old. They've got the deal with IBM. They've done some really smart deals there, and they've got a great infrastructure there, which will drive global remittance. It's one of the things we do, but it's and ours have been driven from the kind of local economies in developing territories. But I then look at I just went through some of the numbers there, and for me, the one thing I struggle with sometimes is to say, that 125 million is going to bring new people in, but it's actually going primarily people who already have wallets. We are that we every day are obviously driving revenue to mobile users, but as we move, especially in the cloud mining, and we start rolling out across these developing territories, then we really are bringing new people in. We really are getting and making a difference with that. And if everything goes to plan, it'll be a lot more than 125 million over the period. But yet we've talked about that for a year, and we hardly get a headline about it. And and all of a sudden it's such big news. And this is not criticizing Stellar. As I said, of all the companies I respect and I very much what they do, and the impact they will have on global remittance is invaluable. But it doesn't stack up to me on sometimes. And that's partly because we were certainly misunderstood in the early stages, and that message doesn't ripple the way we need it to ripple. And it'd be great to hear from you guys what else we do, and from anyone what else we do to get there. All we look for is the truth and the fact out there. That's but that's not easy. So.
It's the crypto market, isn't it? It's very much each cryptocurrency has their following, because all these other cryptocurrencies, they're all part of the 1%. I think Electroneum is the vast majority of this community is part of that 99%. I think that's what makes the ETN community different. And I think sometimes the other cryptocurrency communities sometimes feel a bit threatened by it, maybe. That may be the force. Like, I don't see content I don't see content about crypto and that come out so passionately in other cryptocurrencies. Like, not just YouTube, but talking about like fan art and all these amazing things and all the vendors and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point.
For me, like I like to think about experiences in my life, and so 1% of the population or whatever it is, a small, very small percentage is in crypto, 99% isn't. If I think about people in my life that aren't in crypto, which is most people except people I interact with through the internet, right? So most of my friends, most of my family, if I think about cryptocurrency that my friends and family own, they own Electroneum and hardly even Bitcoin. So like I have friends and family that I know outside of here that have Electroneum that aren't going to report on crypto because they don't really care about crypto, but they have Electroneum, right? But they don't have Bitcoin. They certainly don't have Stellar. They don't have Ethereum. They don't have anything. They have Electroneum, and it's because it's easy to use. When I opened that white paper for the first time and read it, it was dumbed down. It wasn't dumb, but it was written in layman's terms that I could understand.
Absolutely. Sorry, I want to pass it back to you, but the Hemingway, the whole ethos around Hemingway, which the white paper wasn't done on, but people need to write for that mass market, and that's rather than everything. And in the same way, the industry seems to be intent on creating more complexity in what's delivered rather than actually just simplify it. Right. Sorry. And listen, you put that across. I'll never forget when you have that deck and you talked about the building the road ahead. Well, the runway. How do we get there if there's no runway? We laid it down. Well, we've laid it down now. So. Yeah,
exactly. And some people at the beginning kind of made fun, like crypto people make fun of the mobile miner, and they go, "Well, what's it like?" The Bitcoin network, when they mine, they're helping the blockchain, right? They're adding value to the blockchain. Well, this mobile miner, even though it's not really like it's simulating mining, is creating this app is a payment system. It's a roadway. If a bunch of people have this app, a bunch of people are gonna be able to trade ETN, right? So this is the roadway. You know what I mean? And you've created it. So but again, that just goes over people's heads who are like, well,
it's interesting. The more you compare to how the world works, how business works, you start a business, you fund the operational cost for it, right? The business, you prove it. You then need marketing costs. You then have marketing costs to grow it. So Satoshi did this great job. He found a unique way of funding the operational costs that they didn't have to make sure were happening because you're motivating technical people for that mining. Now, there's more than as we see by the cost of electricity. There's almost too much coming out of that. So we've simply taken our fit and said we now need to fund mining, to marketing. Sorry, how do we fund marketing? Because every company needs to be able to fund its marketing. So you know what? We'll take exactly the same concept and we'll in a slightly in a differentiated way to fund the marketing. Marketing of any new product comes from getting it into people's hands, whether that's advertising it, whether that's making it available, whether it's giving them samples. It's marketing, and that's it's actually, and that's one of the things that I got involved initially just after the ICO, and originally I was going to do a day or two a month. So I came in to help with introductions into the mobile industry. Now I do it about 2 days every day. It certainly feels that. I don't do days less than 16 hours at the minute. It's so demanding.
As we can all clearly agree. The future is so exciting to think about. But like you say, you have to take each day as it comes, build upon it, because you don't want to release products and services that aren't mature enough to enter the market as such. And
you know what? Some things might. That's the world. You know, go and look at the unicorn technology companies, right? Because again, this absolute focus on if it's not perfect, then everyone wants to stab you. That's what it feels like sometimes. But, you know, the greatest unicorns in the world have had many things. Sometimes you don't know what's right until you get something wrong, right? So, and that's part of. As long as you've got the people who can fix it very quickly, as long as you've got the team around you who can manage that, as long as, and then that's part of creating greatness. You know, creating greatness comes from knowing what's not great. And so I couldn't sit here now and say there will be some things that will go wrong, but as long as we have the ability to, and there are certain things you talk about, you know, as we do little tweaks, as we try something else, some of the things might not grow and work as quickly as we want, or some of the things might not be as simplified as we want them to be. So I actually have a great quote I'm trying to find, which I love quotes. Keep talking while I look for this. So I mean, you know, again, I'd go back to it, and I'd love to hear, you know, a couple of minutes of all you guys, and you know, what would you advise? You know, what else? What should we be doing differently? You know, we can't work any harder. we certainly, you know, have all the right people around us. But are there things that we're missing? Little things that we could be doing? And please, I have no challenge with anything you say. I'm not going to get upset about it. So, are there little things that we could be doing that, you know, certainly in you know, as we're driving in this, as we're driving through this? So, no? Got your chance.
I'm gonna have to have a little think.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa. You got one, Mike?
I don't know, maybe like twice a month updates. Kind of, this is what's happened the last 2 weeks. This is what we're working on. This is what we're doing the next 2 weeks. Something a little more consistent.
Please, keep going.
Question. I think that would go a long way with the community. Just kind of getting consistent updates. I think a lot of people right now, they're like, "Oh, Friday's coming. Are we gonna get something? Hopefully, we're gonna get something today." And then everyone's just kind of waiting for that Friday, you know?
Yeah. So tell me what we do, because we can't be driven by, you know, and I was going a couple of weeks ago. I said, "Right, what have we got for this Friday?" And we were doing our heads in, thinking about things we're going to be next week, and we wasted some. We took quite a bit of time and said there isn't anything that we would want to say at this moment in time, you know, that's right. So, and then we suddenly stopped and said, you know, we can't run into this. We've got to do an update on a Friday if we haven't got anything worth updating. So, I'm interested in your thoughts of. There's a couple of things we're doing. We are going to we're going to do a much better job of key announcements, key events coming up. We will be translating into multiple languages and going, because we only send out in English at the moment. So, you know, there are, you know, and certainly Asia, you know, we punch under when we look at the user base, we're underweight in certain areas in Asia, and that's you know, that's an area that we're focusing on.
Definitely.
Well, that's just because you've gone farther than anybody's ever gone.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously, when you go to the moon, you know, you're the first one on the moon, you go, whoa, it's a little different than we thought. We need to do this time, right? So,
but in honest truth, though, you know, we care. That's what, you know, Richard takes things personally. I do, you know, we get frustrated when something's not working or not going right. You know, I don't know how many people out there in this world of market actually care about, you know, what you know, the impact they're having with everyone, and we do. I mean, there are times you get frustrated, but we do care. You know, there aren't that many, you know, and that's a bit of a difference. So that's, you know, for the way we operate with people.
And the really cool thing about Electroneum, and because is you guys have come over obstacles. Like there's been so many obstacles that have been like, oh my, I mean, releasing the coins from the ICO was an obstacle. Like,
Yeah.
so it's been obstacle, but it's been overcome.
Yeah, and listen, there are times when we've woken up and gone, oh, no.
That's life. That's business.
Yeah.
That's life. That's business. That's new technology. That's breaking new ground. That's pioneer. You know, that's what it is.
There's a great.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I've got to completely agree with what Sean said as well, that you've gone further than everyone because you've had to overcome obstacles that nobody else has got to yet. Like, for example, the accounting system for the ecosystem for the vendors. Like, no other cryptocurrency has spoken about it yet. Richard was talking about how you're going to account for tax and things like that. Like, those are massive incentivizers for vendors because they don't want to spend hours on end doing calculations with cryptocurrency.
And what you just both said, first one is there's a great. I was just looking down there, John Wayne quote, which I always love. No, you don't normally take quotes from someone like John Wayne, but it's courage is being scared to death but settling up anyway.
Yeah.
And sometimes actually it doesn't matter what, you get back up and you go deal with it. You know you're gonna get shot, but you get up and deal with it.
And there's no one to call to find out. Like, I've been a firefighter before, and so they call 911, and we're the firefighters, and we go to the 911, and then we get there, and we're like, there's the car's wrapped around a pole in a way you've never seen, and sometimes you want to call somebody and go, we need to call 911, but we are 911, and so you guys are. There's no one to call and get to say like, hey, how did you guys do this? Because no one's done it. Then you guys have to figure it out. And
absolutely. Look, we've certainly been stress tested everywhere. And Mick, that washed over me for a minute, but because I was thinking the quote. But you're right. There's some really smart things that the guys at the team are doing. We get, but they don't get recognised. The fact of, and it's ahead of the game again. It's what I was saying that about the kind of comparison to the Stellars and Dashes and things. And we're actually building really useful stuff here. It's going to become more and more important, and I don't think we get two words said about it anyway. But again, I'd love you guys to think about how we get those fundamentals out. How yes, we don't do everything by the book if there is a book, but we do everything by the book of what the market wants. That's what we're following. We're following what is undoubtedly needed in the real world.
Yeah.
So I go back to that beginning of if you want something if you want to experience something different, then you've got to deliver different things, and that's what we're doing. And hopefully there'll be a wake up one day. So,
Definitely.
Guys, I need to shoot because I'm well beyond my hard stop time.
You kept
I was supposed to be on a call 12 minutes ago.
I think this has been such an amazing conversation. Thank you so much, Chris, Sean, and Mike for allowing me to be a part of it. Really.